I,
Let's see.
if Caswell is a general, I should at least be a lieutenant colonel.
A lieutenant colonel. I don't know all of this. I wanted to think of something close, but I didn't know what to say.
Yeah. No, I know. I mentioned my conky. And I wanted to add that for dessert today at lunch, I had a warm conky with vanilla ice cream. You should try that combination. A hot
I never
conky. Huh?
I never had that before.
Try that. It's gorgeous. The contrast between the heat of the conky and the cold of the ice cream and the flavors, they're incredible. Try it. I recommend that to you highly. When you finish your conkies.
Yeah, well, I have a conky, Dave. There. I hope Dave bring my conky for me, please. Well, bring my conky is right there on the table. Let me show off and Scully. Where is the Mr. Scully? The Scully
This
Kennel.
homemade this is a homemade conky.
Mr. Murray, why you have to ask me these
Oh,
questions?
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. I beg your
Mr.
pardon.
Murray, I said I had a conky. Why you have to go and ask me to let Scully Dog Kennel here? No, no, I can't tell any lie, Mr. Murray. Why you have to
All
ask me
right.
if I made the conky, Mr.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Whatever the
Murray?
source,
Can you bring
enjoy it.
my conky, please?
Yes.
No, listen.
Conky eaten?
Listen, I look at them saying that I'm making the conky with a whisk. What
Uh,
happened? No, Mr. Murray, I
conky
told
eaten?
Dave to bring my conky, and this is what
Uh,
Dave brought to me.
conky bitten and eaten.
The conky
K-
is gone.
Kadir, I feel for you.
Oh
I know how
my!
you would feel.
Listen, I'm looking forward to eat my conky after the show, and this is what my husband brought to me.
Maybe maybe it's just a tease. Maybe the real thing is still there. You just want to provoke you a bit. Yes.
Yes, go right
Yeah.
ahead. Go right
Well,
ahead.
yeah.
Happy
So
Independence, everybody.
it's in that spirit then that I want to get on to the Bridgetown characters. Uh,
Yes.
there's a section of my book which deals with Bridgetown characters. The book called, and anybody who wants to look, I get a full presentation on them. They can read that book. It's called Barbados Customs to Treasure, Early Gems of Bajan Creativity, and it's available in many schools, but definitely in the public library or university library. And
Yes.
if you want, and this concept of the Bridgetown characters has also been put into song with the late Smokey Bird. There's a recording which I'm trying to get over. It gives a very good account in song. So it's those characters, while they might not be on the scene now and people don't know of them, are really immortalized through
Hmm.
basically through this book and through Smokey Bird. But let me make it clear that the book, the characters who, while they frequented town, were of a totally different persona and behavior as what they were not anywhere near what you call parosing or people
Hmm.
sleeping or sleep. Some of them, as a matter of fact, would have gone to, as you would say, good schools, come from good families, but because of their peculiarities, they all gravitated towards town. And my theory is that they came to town because of the attention they would get from their behaviors and the interaction with the public. And most of them, I would think 99%, came to town from the morning and usually went back home at night. So there was no mass sleeping overnight on the streets. And Barbadians appreciated them. Barbados welcomed them. Barbados interacted with them. They teased them. But there was only one of them, believe it or not, whoever threatened to be violent. One called Capesculars. And I had a very interesting encounter when we were, Commander was sighted at the garrison Savannah. One evening, we were waiting for the bus to come to Bridgetown, and Pascal passed on the other side of the street. Once you call his name, he would chase you down. So he chased about 5 or 6 of us down. We took off, and I was carrying my big heavy bag, and we ran from the garrison right down Bay Street, and we had to run into the Harbor Police Station then on Bay Street for safety. And he went and sat across the street where the government electrical engineering department used to be. and waited for us. So eventually the police had to put us in a van and drop us in the bus stand for our safety so we could go home. But he was the only one who would threaten to beat you if you call his name. Um, and but I'd like to start in St. Philip. There was one called Scotty, and this started in St. Philip is in deference to your place of residence. Scotty, I don't know if you ever heard of Scotty. Scotty had a very high pitched voice, tall, dark fellow. He walked and he had this crocus bag on his back, and you say, Scotty, what are you doing? Why are you having that bag? He said, my family wants to thief my land, and they got to the here so they can't carry on with that. And he walked all. That was his style, right? Um, there was another one called Godfrey, who could sing any hymn you could think of
Wow.
out of his head before looking at him. But very entertaining character. Um, there was one a lady called Big Rose, and there was another one called Robert Mule, and those who let me put it this way as delicate as I say. The two of them were very popular with the young boys who wanted to become men. Let me put it
Mm-hmm.
that way, right? And there was another one called Bulldog. Bulldog was the pioneer of the long. We have short pants that fit you above the knees. He
Mm-hmm.
was wearing that back in the '60s, and people thought he was real odd. So he pioneered that style long before it was fashionable. There was another one called Beansy. I can't tell you what he would say in his. We had a very
What
humble,
was it
humble,
called?
humble.
Daisy? You said Daisy?
Beansy, Beansia, Beansy,
Okay.
right? He was a former ship captain,
Mm-hmm.
and he could sit down with a piece of chalk, sit and spin a circle, draw a complete circle, perfect, and then write in from his head all of the points of the compass
Oh
from his
wow.
head. A really, really, really remarkable fellow. And then there was a doctor dentist Bostic who operated on Tudor Street.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they said that he'd been to Harrison College and he was well known for. He used to sell breadfruits with a tree in the back of his building, and he had this policy: buy one get one free. How it operated was, if you bought one, the next person who came will get theirs free. Not you
Ah.
buy one, I get it right. Hey, you buy one, the next person gets one free. So and then he used to he had what he called a broadcasting station, and like the BBC, the pips on the BBC,
Yes.
and he was giving news from all over the world, and he would say something like, "This is Petersburg Broadcasting Corporation transmitting on a transmissible transmission frequency of 10.5." Then we give you the world news, right? um, um, but one of my favorites, everybody's favorite, was a very gentle man called Easy Boy.
Yeah.
He would take a half day to walk from the top of Broad Street to the end of Broad Street. He just walk. You give your finger when you showed him and a smile, but he was so easy then. It took him hours to walk the length of a bit Broad
So
Street.
he was walking really slowly.
Really, yeah. Do you remember where Nelson used to be? He said
Yes.
if you took him from there right down to Mutual Building, it would take him half a day. But that was his style. And then there was one called a couple called Tongue Man and Tongue Woman, right? Do you know what a rose tree trimmer is?
Rose tree trimmer, no.
A rose tree trimmer. Do you know what night soil is? Night soil. Soil for the night?
No.
Okay. Well, there were rose tree trimmers, and they collected night soil. Night soil was feces, and they moved it, and they're called. That was a euphemistic way of saying you were moving feces. You were called a rose tree trimmer to give you so
Oh.
that they had that respectable name to hide what
But
exactly what was going on.
they were paid to do this?
They were paid to do that. This is the early days before people had septic tanks and
Oh wow.
running toilets. So
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 people,
that that
people, so people then would just okay, because that happened, everywhere in Jamaica, wherever. and so they would just do their pieces anywhere, and then somebody's paid to remove it.
Yeah, they would go to their to houses and collect it and dispose of it for them for a fee. So
Oh,
they were called rose tree trimmers. Um, so but one of my all time favorites. You I believe you must have seen pictures of Doctor of King Dale.
yes, yes, definitely. And
Right, King
cricket.
Dale, King, right. He was the king of them. He rode a bicycle. He would always wear a suit. He was a tailor, made his own clothes. But if you looked at them, you can see that he made his own clothes. Um, he, he, he rode his bicycle, um, highly, highly educated as a self-taught man.
Hmm.
And he had this, he always had this banter back and forth between himself and the Barbadian. They would tease him about his clothes because he was very English in his outlook. Uh,
Ah,
right? Spoke well, wrote well. I don't know if you remember last time I read you the letter he wrote to the advocate about persons who were criticizing him because he was listed as one of the 10 best dressed men in Barbados. And it's only a few seconds. I'll refresh your mind with it. He said, "Dear sir, this is to the editor of the Barbados Advocate. I
mhm.
read with bemused detachment the disgruntled howl of disappointed desire from some Barbadians because my name was included in the list of the 10 best dressed persons and there were not. But while thousands roam the streets of Barbados in a state of barbaric nudity that will make prehistoric man shudder in disgust, I am a sartorial dream of immaculate perfection. My daily ensembles hold spellbound with acclamation and approbation, not only resident Barbadians, but the thousands of visitors within our gates. Reavers done all day. He was an avid reader. Um, Spent lots of time in the pub, like reading newspapers and books. So hence his great facility with words.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was teased because of the way he's dressed, and he always supported the English team in cricket,
Hmm.
right?
Why?
When he was being
Why
teased
did he do that?
by
Why would why
Barbie,
would he support West Indies?
hello.
I was asking, why didn't he support
He
the
was a
West
product of
Indies?
colonialism
Ah,
because he was English and he was a young colonial man believing
hmm,
in. No, he was not the only person. There were some people who only supported Australia or England against the West Indies. Never supported the West Indies. There were some like that. So when as a matter of fact, he was such an avid fan. See him he used to go to all the test matches. Um, he was once invited by I think Peter May, the English captain, who flew him to England to watch cricket at Lords. I mean, he was a he would always make a grand entrance at Kensington when the grounds are full, and people
hmm.
would cheer him and tease him. He was a character, a very interesting character. But when he was had exchange of words with the Barbadians, he would dismiss them as a go away, you black cat. But he was not violent. I remember I remember one of the last times I saw him live in Bridgetown. Some fellas were teasing him. This is the time, or this is the 1960s, 70s, when laymen had come into Barbados, hang out on the street. So that was what the attraction for the young people to go leave school, come to town, and Lime hang out during
Yeah.
the day, on weekends, on Saturdays, because that was their entertainment to see these characters interact with them, and that was part of the layman. Layman was the preoccupation of the young people. At first, it drew the air of the police because I think a couple of people got arrested because they were in big groups and blocking the sidewalk uh, between, say, Cape Shepherd on both sides of the road. It was just a new phenomenon, and and there was a song called, if you ever heard a song by the Merry Men called Diddley Bops. Diddley Bops.
No, I don't
That is
know.
a song. Diddley Bops, see them coming down the street. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da. So that he is telling the story of the linemen, how they got one arrested because they refused to move when the police There was a very famous policeman called Inspector Murphy, a white Barbadian, or whitish Barbadian, whatever you might call it. When he said move, you don't move, he would grab you and the rest of it. He was a very firm, strict man. A lot of people backed off or backed away from it. So, so like I was telling you, when my last encounter with King Dad is that we were liming. I was at the Advocate then, but we were out to lunch, and you always took some of your time from lunch to line, meet the
Mhm.
fellas, look at the girls, check out the scene or whatnot. And we were talking, and Kendall came by, and the fellow showed me stop, and he teasing them, and he teasing them. And then one fellow said, oh my God, oh, I'm late for my lunch. I will get back in my time now, otherwise the boss can be vexed. And King Dale merely said, you see, modern slaves. Go away, modern slaves. So he was very witty, uh, very witty, very charming. So therefore, it was total contrast to when you hear stories now of people beating up the homeless. I'd never heard these stories yet of people beating up one of the characters. I'm only giving you a few of them
Yes.
from that sample. So Birdsong was a very lively, colorful place, and they added to the life. As a matter of fact, in his song, Smokey Burke described these characters as the soul of Bridgetown,
Mm.
the soul of Bridgetown. So it's a totally different atmosphere from what we have today, and
This is
very
Ninja Man.
was that.
No, I'm looking at Ninja Man here.
Listen,
This
yeah,
is in COVID time, I think.
right,
This
right,
is
right, right. So we've always had them, and most countries have them. But Barbados had his own. We had nicknames for them and all that, and that was an era which no longer exists. No, so it was a give and take situation. Each person tolerated each other. Some people thought they were crazy, but most people accept them as being different and odd, maverick, eccentric, whatever. But they
Mhm.
were part of the regular Barbadian scene that people look forward to intercultural with and welcome. In fact, the Easy Boy, I think, lived in Carrington Village. And if he hadn't been seen for a couple of days, people actually go up to Carrington Village to check to make sure if he's ill or not because they're missing. I mean,
Mhm.
imagine a man walking and just giving you the finger. Easy Boy, he shakes his finger, and he's going to took minutes. He took several seconds before he made a complete step where one foot followed the other. A sight to behold. So, those are some of the people now that added to the mystery and the color and the atmosphere of Bridgetown. And
Yes.
therefore, I thought it'd be interesting that people would know that this is what happened then, and that it was not always as it is now, where people who seek for whatever reason to be on the street are mistreated, especially at night, and beaten up and harassed or whatnot. That Barbados is even more tolerant then than we are now. I think we are still relatively a tolerant society, but we were even more broad-minded and tolerant and accepted. Yeah, there's King Daly always in his splendid yellow suit, yellow hat, yellow cane. Sometimes you have yellow spectacles. Sometimes by still be painted the color of his suit too. So
Yes.
yes. So I thought that people
Yes.
at this time of independent, people might want to know about how Bridgetown was in the 60s and 70s.
But
Uh,
they said he used to be called Hog Food. Why is that?
hog food, right?
Why they call him Hog Food?
Because the people said he said that was because some people, his critics would say his his um his clothes look as though they were washed with hog food,
Oh,
right?
so the clothes weren't really very it wasn't pretty. The
Yeah,
colors
no,
were dull.
no, he wear various colors. But he made the suits largely himself, so
Ah,
they were not fine. They were it's not something you buy off the rack in the
yes,
department
I got
store,
you. I got
right?
you.
So, but he used to brag he never worked for anybody, he always worked for himself a lot. So hence he told
Right.
the youngster, modern slave, be gone, modern slave, and that shut him down. And the fella came back and shook his hand and said, good one, King."
It's
Yeah.
so interesting, and I know that he was featured in in not a movie, but it was a music video by Billy Ocean, right? I
Yeah,
believe that's what we showed. He was what is the color of love?
yeah,
And so that's King Dial there, and this is you know, a Bajan American, Bajan,
yeah,
but you know, it's an American artist, and
yeah. He was one of the iconic characters of Barbie. He featured in posters. He used to be photographed a lot by tourists. So he was part. He was an integral part of the Barbados scene. He came from Chapman Lane, I think it was Chapman Lane is where he came from a while. So he's out of the city, and from the city, and very much a part of the city.
yes,
All right.
yes, wow. Well,
So
I'm educated because I would only see him in pictures,
yeah,
and so you know, I learned quite a bit more about him, especially King Dan, and then all the different names,
yeah.
Bajan Pachi or Bajan Patsy. What did you say?
Bajan Patsy, Bajan
Patsy.
Patsy.
Yes,
Yeah, yes.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. I know about.
they had some women in the group also. There were a few women, but far more men than women were involved.
Yes, yes,
But
yes, yes.
Bears and Patsy came later, but the earlier ones, yeah, they were well-known characters of the city.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, he made us a lot of creativity there. He made his own clothes, created a whole character that we are here talking about.
right.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Um, and maybe next time I'm on, I think I'd like to explore nicknames, the
Uh-huh.
phenomena of and some nicknames, and you could probably get the thing. Um, we share their own nicknames. Everybody in
Yes,
every
yes,
neighborhood, every
yes. I think
every
that would be
family.
funny.
Right. So
That would be interesting.
right.
And just to look at where we got that concept from. Where did we get that from? That's really interesting.
It really, from my readings in sociology, it's a phenomenon that's found all over the world. But the
Mm-hmm,
nicknames serve different purposes.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes a nickname is used to differentiate a son from a father.
Yeah.
Uh, if they have the same Christian or surnames, uh, a nickname could also represent. It might be a part of a physical feature.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something you've done or said or happened to you. You immediately, you get a nickname from some incident and it lasts you for the rest of your life. There's some nicknames that go across generations, the pass on from father to son and brothers and what. So it is a phenomenon of human life all over the world, actually. So it'd be
Yes.
interesting to see how,
Yeah,
how
it'd
these
be good
people.
to look at that. Now there's somebody, peace, good night, peace. You're late, peace. You are late to class because the teacher did mention tone man and tone woman, but you are a little late. But thank you, thank you. And
Yeah,
somebody's talking about Lovebird. They said Pedro Jamat is saying that Gearbox and Lovebird used to quarrel to sleep under the library step in hotel. Um,
okay.
so it's interesting. Yeah, people
Yeah.
remember, and so this is part of. Now I know you have another. We only have 4 minutes left in your segment, you know, and you
What?
still have you have another part that you wanna
Yeah,
discuss,
sure. Oh
right?
my God. Uh, yeah, I just wanted to look at if if you could my topic rejecting three card men governance, and that relates to my reaction to the hoops and dipsy doodling and contortions and language and concepts and acronyms and whatnot that the government has been going through to try to extend this new $600 million loan, right?
Mhm.
Um, I thought I would if you look at those two slides, if you read the slides, slide number one, and they say three caramel for a particular purpose. If you read the slides, you will help explain why it says
Yes,
so. Then I get back to it.
right. So the
Can
three
you?
card, a three card Monte, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Monty. Yeah, Monty.
Monty, a game traditionally associated with conmen, in which the dealer shows the player three cards, then moves them around face down, the player being obliged to pick the specified card from among the three.
Okay. All right. Can you go to the next one then too for me?
The next one, okay,
Yeah.
so that's going to come up now. Switch.
Yeah.
It is
Right.
a basic skill game played with three cards. The victim is enticed or pressured to play the game and must pick the odd card to win. You cannot win at this game. So it
Right.
is a basic skill game played with three cards. The
Right.
victim is enticed or pressured to play the game and must pick the odd card to win. You cannot win at this game. I've seen this all the time. I've never done it.
Barbados probably still has its army of three-card men. They normally come out on payday, on festive season, Christmas, crop over, Easter, when people got back pay, and they hang around the streets and they look for certain age or type persons. And three of them will go and corner you and, and force you through this game. And they'll let you win. And then you bet them and you win. And that's how they'll force you to go into the bank and draw off money. People have emptied their saving because they want to win this big money. So it really is a criminal act. And they used to
Mhm.
have on both sides of the bridge, you're waiting for these victims to pressure them, and you're following the three cards, and you're moving their hands quickly and whatnot. A sleight of hand deceiving you, and that's the end. So that is that's the conclusion they came to when they heard government's presentation of this $600 million loan, because they're rescheduling it, and you see, and I was raised and I was educated to have logic, straight, linear, clear, logical thinking.
Mhm.
And so when they follow it, I too believe that even though if you owe and you reschedule, you're merely postponing for somebody else to pay down the road. The debt
Yes.
still exists, but you're rescheduling, reposting, restructuring, what we call it. It means that the debt it still has to be paid, and other people have to pay you. No matter, remember, you had it with BOSS and BEST, acronyms and slogans. And I say that because I grew up at a time when some of the most important and developmental policies and programs were implemented in Barbados in straight, easy terms. No fancy language, no fancy like no fancy language, nothing to really to confuse you. And all of a sudden, now, and that is the way it used to be. I would think up to 2018. Um, if, for example, some of the major things there was the right to vote was a straightforward in the event it was put to the people the right to vote. You had NIS came. It was presented in a public, clear, simple language that people understood. Um, Unemployment insurance was done. Um, Severance pay. There was and I remember VAT. I remember VAT particularly because when VAT was being introduced, there was in virtually every other country in the world where that was introduced, it caused riots, governments were overthrown, etc. And people in the government at that time, of which we were part, were fearful that that would cause disquiet and cause rioting and whatnot.
Mhm.
And the Prime Minister, after appointing the committee, uh, put me to chair the committee. We worked out a PR program that sold back in simple, straightforward, logical, rational terms of the benefits of that it will replace 11 other tax, etc. And so successful was our program that we were asked by governments of Belize and Bahamas to come and help them with theirs to also introduce them to avoid any rioting and whatnot. So when you see all this dipsy do all the fancy language that you're indulging to try to sell this idea of the $600 million loan. And they even, okay, in the past, the government had relied on to sell this program on advisor Forsad. He's no longer there, so it seems that they rely on, 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 on Mr. Strawn,
Yes.
Minister Strawn. Right. But the thing is, even when they talk about they try to justify the loan by saying some of the money will go to pay off a couple $100 million of the $1.3 billion that the INS lost to them, right? But that is all well and good. I'm glad to see some effort is being made to attack that to repay, because there's been promise of refinancing NIS out of that debt, and I think nothing yet has been done about it. So maybe maybe this is their trifling beginning of rectifying it. But the point is, what happens after this 2 or 3 million, 100 million are paid in?